Wave Wellness Center, and in this video I'm talking about the very important sleep. So we all know that sleep is very important for our bodies, not just to be able to repair and rebuild from the previous day, but it's also something that affects your moods or affects a lot of different things in the body. Because you know that if you're not getting good sleep, what happens the next day? You're very cranky, irritated, you just cannot perform as well as you should. So those are some of the main factors. Now I'm going to talk about the 5 major benefits of good quality sleep, and I'll show you what are the causes of why you're having the sleep disturbances and how you can fix them. So let's start with that. So let me talk about the 5 benefits of sleep. We all know that sleep is very important because it helps your body, your brain, everything repair, replenish, and rebuild from the previous day. All the events, all the memories you created, all the tasks that you performed, all those kind of things, your brain actually sorts those things out in the middle of the night when you're sleeping. That whole REM sleep, right? The rapid eye movement. So we need that deep sleep. For that deep sleep to happen, there's certain things that should occur. Now, if those are not happening, these are the 5 benefits, first of all, of the good quality sleep, first of all. So the first thing, it actually helps balance your hormone levels out. So we know cortisol. There's also been studies that show that if you get good sleep, you're more insulin sensitive. So people that are diabetic, I don't know if you ever heard, but they are told to get better quality sleep or good sleep. So cortisol levels. Cortisol is your stress hormone. We all know stress affects all sorts of things. It also affects our sleep. So when you actually get good sleep, it actually helps balance your cortisol levels better. The other thing is it also helps boost testosterone levels. So there's a lot of different factors that help with that deal. Now the second thing is it actually helps improve your immune system. There's been a lot of studies that have shown that people that get less than 7 hours of sleep in a night are 3 times more likely to end up with, say, like a common cold than somebody that sleeps more than 8 hours in a night. So it helps boost your immune system. The third one is it actually helps decrease your risk of depression. Now, we all know neurotransmitters. These are the chemicals in the brain. We've talked about some of these before. Serotonin, dopamine, all of these things are actually replenished, or they're kind of converted a lot during the nighttime when you're sleeping. So when you don't have enough sleep, some of these neurotransmitters get affected and you end up with depression, anxiety, and all those kind of things. The other thing that you might not have heard of is sleep is actually very beneficial for weight loss. Yes, that's true. So people that are trying to lose weight, yes, a good diet is of course something to follow, but when you actually get good quality sleep, as I mentioned, there's a lot of hormonal changes, there's a lot of that repair, replenishing that's going on in the body at night. So if you're not sleeping well, you might not lose the fat that you're trying to do as much. Now the other thing is it also helps, number 5 would be it helps your muscle recovery. So if you're somebody that takes part in a lot of physical activities, or if your work involves you being very physically active, you need some more sleep than somebody that just sits at the desk. So when you're getting about 7-8 hours of sleep, as I mentioned, it helps boost testosterone levels, which help replenish or rebuild your muscles as well. So those are some of the biggest main benefits of good quality sleep. Now let's talk about what exactly causes disturbance. We all know about the good quality sleep, right? We all know that, yeah, if you don't sleep, you have all these things going on. So what exactly is causing you not to fall asleep? So I'll talk about this. The first thing is, if you're somebody that's having trouble falling asleep, so you sit and lay down at night and your mind starts racing 100 miles an hour and you're thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow, what just happened through the day, well then that's a cortisol problem. That's more of a metabolic problem. This is where your cortisol levels are spiking at night. So again, we do a lot of tests in the office. We actually test for your cortisol levels. Now we have seen there's a graph for cortisol. It starts off high in the day. It's supposed to decrease by the afternoon and kind of level off a little lower in the evenings. Melatonin, which is your sleep hormone, has an inverse proportion. So it actually works in opposition to cortisol. So if you're always stressed out, or if you're in a high level of stress and anxiety and you have higher levels of cortisol, your melatonin levels, instead of rising, are going to dip. And that's one of the big problems of having trouble falling asleep. So those are a few things to try out. So again, the way I said, we actually like to test for some of these to show you if you're having any of those problems. Now, if you're somebody that actually can fall asleep okay, but then has trouble staying asleep, so you wake up in the night to go to the bathroom, or you just wake up and then you have trouble falling asleep. Now, that is more of what we call a sugar issue, a sugar imbalance issue. Again, so think about this. A lot of people eat dinner at about 6 o'clock at night, and then sometimes you're not eating, or you're eating too much of certain foods. Well, when you're going through the night and your blood sugar levels drop, your body's going to produce a little bit of cortisol, because that's considered a stress to the body. So when it produces cortisol, or your adrenaline, what happens? Well, it's going to wake you up. Cortisol does not allow you to sleep. So again, that's one of the things. So sugar handling is a big thing. Sugar imbalances I mean, a lot of people suffer with those without even knowing it. You don't have to be a diabetic to have a sugar imbalance. There's a lot of times that, just even a normal healthy person can have imbalances in sugar levels of just how your body is maybe not handling sugar well. So what should you do to kind of fix this? Well, first thing, as I mentioned, is, again, get tested. We don't know, just because some of the symptoms that you're experiencing might not give you the best answer, but sometimes when we look at the levels of cortisol, melatonin, there's tests for that. So when we test these levels and we see exactly where you are, we can show you how to balance some of these things better. And then now the other thing, a quick tip just to kind of help you, before you get tested, is eat a snack at night before you go to sleep. If you're having trouble falling asleep and staying asleep, sounds crazy and it sounds like, oh my God, people say don't eat before bedtime. But if you actually eat something with a little bit more protein, not sugar, a little bit higher protein, an almond butter, eat some nuts or something. Some of these things contain not just some of the protein stuff, but there's tryptophan. Tryptophan is something that converts into something called serotonin. Serotonin is something that calms the brain down and helps you sleep better. So these are some things that you can snack on at night. Don't reach for, a bowl of ice cream or nothing, but just something small like that. Even a cup of chamomile tea with a little bit of honey. Honey is low glycemic index, which means it's not going to spike your sugar levels or your insulin levels too high. So that's not going to create that whole imbalance again. So you may try just a little bit of honey in some chamomile tea, some kind of tea that way, just to kind of help calm the body down. So those are a few tips for that. Now, the second cause of sleep disturbances is something called neurogenic or neurological disturbances. Now, you've heard me talk about neurotransmitters. These are all the chemicals in the brain that signal and trigger a lot of different processes throughout the body. So if some of those things are not functioning well or they're not balanced the right way, as I just talked about serotonin is what kind of is like the brakes of the brain. It's going to help slow things down, so it's supposed to spike a little bit towards the evening. So if you don't have enough of that, what happens? Well, your brain's not going to be calming down as well as it should. That gas pedal is still pushed on and you're thinking about a lot of things and you just have trouble falling asleep. So that's another one of the tests that we do, is we test for your neurotransmitters. We'll show you if there's an imbalance with one of them. And again, as I've mentioned, a lot of times these neurobalance or neurotransmitter imbalances, hormone imbalances, a lot have to do with what you put in your body. Food is medicine. So again, if you're deficient in certain minerals, if you're deficient in certain vitamins, something, if your body's missing something, sometimes it triggers things the wrong way and then creates all sorts of symptoms that you're experiencing. So again, these are the two main factors that can cause that. Of course, your sleep patterns are also a big thing. If you're somebody that sleeps 12 o'clock one day and then you try to fall asleep at 8 p.m. in the evening, you're not going to be able to sleep. So try and have a consistent sleep pattern. So sleep is very important for the body. As I mentioned, there's all these things, benefits of sleep. And if you have any trouble sleeping, or if you know somebody that's having trouble sleeping, please share this video with them and tell them, you know what, there's ways we can solve this. We just need to test it and find out exactly what could be causing your problem. So once we know what the problem is, we know what to correct. So I hope this information has helped you, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.